Hey Scott, my name is Jim, and I have a channel here on YouTube that is Christian based, and I became aware of you through Noah, Veritas 48. I think I'm a little bit late to this dinner party, so I apologize. I don't even know if this topic is of interest anymore to anybody, if they're still watching your 30-minute video on morality or not. I also want to apologize. I have not watched any of the other replies except for maybe one to this topic that you bring up. So if any of my information or my reply is redundant, my apologies. First and foremost, I want to say that I can kind of get behind your definition of good and bad in a very broad and general way. And that may surprise you, it may not, but reason being is it really kind of has a flavor to it of do unto others, the golden rule. Do the most good, the most positive and beneficial things for yourself, your family, and others, and do the least amount of harm. It's kind of my oversimplification of your definition. Obviously, that is the running theme, especially in the New Covenant teachings of Jesus Christ, but arguably even the Old Testament law, in a lot of sections of it, it's clear that you are to do the most good and benefit for yourself, your family, and others, and the least amount of harm to yourself, your family, and others. So why am I making this video? Obviously, I have some sort of beef with the definition, and that's correct, I do. I don't think it's robust enough, and I'm going to give you 3 reasons why, one of which I'm quite certain you won't necessarily agree with, but I offer it to you anyway just to give you some clarity on the way someone such as myself might think things through. The other 2 I think you're going to see are valid, and they do poke holes in your definition, and at the very least expose your definition to being not all-encompassing enough, not robust enough. So here we go. Point number 1, this is the one you won't agree with necessarily, is as a Christian theist, I see human beings as more than just flesh and blood. We are spirit, and that spirit will go on to live beyond the death of our bodies. So when you talk about hurting people and being able to measure whether or not an action hurts someone, you take into account all the physical ways in which a person can be hurt, emotionally, possibly mentally, and physically. And sometimes one action will cause harm in all 3 levels of that onion, and sometimes, you just sprain an ankle and it's just a physical hurt, and that's not necessarily evil, but you get my point. I take into account another layer of our onion, which is the spiritual. And call me naive, but I trust my Father in heaven, who made me, to know what causes even my spirit some harm. So when you take an example like you did in your video of homosexuality as apparently causing no harm to a person, I'm not so quick to think that, because it very well could cause harm. And I know you're frustrated when we say because God said so, but He is the Creator, and He is the one that knows us intimately and knows all the layers of our onion that can be hurt. So that's the part I don't think you'll agree with, but if you understand that I see more layers to a human being than you do, then you understand when I apply your very definition to morality, I can still hang on to some of the moral judgments that I currently have, because I see that it could possibly hurt a person at a deeper level than you're willing to look at. Okay, so on to the 2 examples that you probably will agree that maybe poke some holes in your definition. Number 1, my wife is about 11 weeks pregnant. This is just a hypothetical scenario. Let's say she's kind of sensitive about the fact that she's got one of those little bellies that's not really showing completely. It's not obvious that she's pregnant, but there's a little bit of a pooch. It's a cute one. I think it's beautiful. But let's say she's just really sensitive about it. We're about to go out for an evening out. She comes up to me and says, "Hey, from the side, can you tell there's a pooch?" Okay. My opportunity there, from a moral standpoint, is to tell her the truth. Yeah, it shows a little bit, but you look great, and hope that that's okay and that she doesn't obsess the rest of the night about what people are thinking about her, or I can tell a lie. And in this scenario, I'm going to say that the lie is what causes the most good, the most beneficial result, because by telling her no, you can't even tell, the clothes you're wearing hides it perfectly. She spends the rest of the night at ease. She enjoys the meal and the date that we're going on, and I'm at ease because I know that she is not constantly worried about what others around her are thinking. By your definition, I've made the moral choice by lying to my wife. By my moral code, no matter what the outcome, no matter how beneficial and how little harm my lie caused, it's immoral. So show me or tell me how, by your definition, that lie, having all those beneficial outcomes, could be immoral in your worldview, because I don't see that that's possible. And maybe you don't think it is immoral. Maybe you think there are circumstances in which the lie is a moral choice. Obviously, we would be at opposing. I would be in opposing position to you if you took that stance, but it's your prerogative. My last point, the last hole I want to poke in your definition is this. Another hypothetical scenario: say a man has an affair, it lasts 12 months before he's caught. My question to you is, at what point was his moral choice immoral? For 11 months, his wife, not knowing what was going on, believed they had a harmonious, wonderful family unit. She was happy. For 11 months, the man was happy because he had this beautiful family on one side, and he was getting away with acting out his fantasies without anyone knowing. The lady involved was happy because she thought this man was really great and that he might one day marry her. So all three parties for 11 months had no harm coming to them. It was only in the 12th month when he was caught, found out that all the chips fell, and all three parties got hurt. As I understand your definition of morality, it's not necessarily an immoral choice to commit adultery in this situation until the 12th month. So for 11 months, there was no harm being done, and therefore the actions occurring in those 11 months were not immoral. Now, maybe I have horribly misunderstood your definition, but I think this holds water if I understood your definition correctly. In my worldview, the immorality actually happened before the first day that these two hooked up, because there was a fantasy going on in the mind. There was a lustful thought of this woman that reached outside of his marriage. So that's where the sin started. In your definition, I don't see any way to show that the 11 months before he was caught had any immorality associated with it. It was only in the 12th month, when the harm or the damage was caused, that it became an immoral choice. Now, hypothetically, if the man had never been caught and he had a lifelong adulterous relationship somehow with this woman, and never got caught, again, I throw it at you, would this have been a moral choice? And if not, why, by your definition? Thanks for your time, and I appreciate any feedback. Thanks.